Welcome back. It is part 9. Good grief. It's part 9 in our behaviour change video tutorial series that runs along with the Juice Mail blog each week to help you help your clients change their behaviour. So in this episode, what we're going to be discussing is paradigm shifting and context, which is absolutely vital in terms of understanding how, when, where, whatever is required to change behaviour. So there's quite a famous book written by Stephen Covey who talked about the 7 habits of highly successful people. And within it, he talks specifically about a situation where he had his own paradigm shifted in a moment. So in his example, I think he gave where a man was sitting on a bench, the children were playing, they were causing absolute havoc. And Covey sort of talked about feeling frustrated, why can't he control the kids? And upon asking the guy, why are you not controlling your kids? This guy sort of turned around and said, well, their mother has just died about an hour ago, and I don't know what to do about it. And that moment just completely turned Covey's annoyance into empathy and sympathy for this guy who was just bereft. So it's a great example of a paradigm shift. But what is a paradigm exactly anyway? Well, if you put it into the internet, Google search or have a look around, it's called a typical example of a pattern or something, a model that a society's paradigm, for example, the ideal woman. A worldview underlying the theories and mythology of a particular scientific subject. The discovery of a universal gravitation becomes the paradigm of a successful science. It could, in simple terms, just be your view of the world or a situation. When we ask the so what question in terms of why we're talking about a paradigm, we might need to shift our own paradigm to understand our client, their behaviour, and how we can help them change it if that's what they're after, which is usually the reason they're paying us, right? They want to change some kind of behaviour, they want to achieve a goal, and for some reason they're not able to do it on their own, so they're asking our advice. So we may need to shift our paradigm to understand their behaviour, and then we need to help them shift their paradigm potentially to help them change their behaviour. So an example of relevance to us and our clients might be that we have a conversation with our client who says, I failed miserably, I had cake, I couldn't help it, all my friends were eating cake, it's just awful, I might as well give up. What we can do is shift their paradigm and say, well, look, you've only failed if you give up. Yeah, if you crack on and stop eating cake or whatever the goal is, and you move forwards and see this as a lesson to look back and think, well, why did I have the cake? Why did I fall into that old behaviour of just following the crowd when inside I really knew I wanted to not eat the cake. I wanted to, achieve my goal of losing weight or whatever that goal is. And we're going to help them think about what they did as a lesson, a positive event, rather than a failure, which would be a negative event. This also comes along quite closely with context, and I see this an awful lot in social media, on several platforms, whether it's video, whether it's written, but certain contexts are not given, and so when somebody is reading an article that the writer has had a certain context in mind, the reader has a different context, and it hasn't been given with clarity. So the reader is reading this and they understand it differently to the way the writer intended. So some examples that we might read are things like, we should squat with our toes pointing forwards, women should do more cardio, everyone should eat paleo, dairy is bad for you, orthotics are bad for you, stretching is bad for you, we should all learn how to use foam rollers. These are all very bold statements, and I have read all of these, by the way. But without context, then they can be misinterpreted. Each one is only relevant in a certain context. Yeah, it's adapting it to the writer's meaning or intention of giving you that sort of advice is dairy is only bad for you if. Yeah, and so there needs to be a context given to these, because for certain people this might be right. Some women maybe should do more cardio. For some people dairy might be bad. Orthotics are good for some and not others. So when it comes to the human body in particular, we can't take generic statements as the given for everyone. This is super important when we're trying to help and educate our clients on their journey to changing their behaviour to a behaviour that they desire more. And so giving them context, allowing them to understand paradigms and how this might all fit together in terms of them adapting and changing their behaviour. That's our job. So how can we do that? Well, what we can do is certainly talk through our clients' experiences of the time they're not with us, where they feel like they failed when they ate the cake, converting that into a positive. So look, that's a goal, that's a success, because you've learned a lesson. What can happen next time when you're in the same situation is you can change your way of thinking around it and maybe make a different choice, right? We can also help them understand maybe where they've got their information from about orthotics are bad for everybody, and create a resource or explain to them how it's got to be case or context relevant. We've got to understand who that's relevant to and make it relevant to the client themselves. So next time we're going to be talking about the 4 legs of life, and there will be another tip, technique that you can start to apply to help your clients change their behaviour. So please let me know how you get on with these. Are they helpful to you? You can email me, rachel@biomechanicseducation.com, or you can go to the website, biomechanicseducation.com, check out everything else we're talking about in there. There's a whole series of blogs and videos that go along with this one, so go and find them on the YouTube channel, biomechanicseducation.com. I think you get the picture. But please, please do write in, let me know how you're getting on, how it's helping, maybe your success stories, or maybe not. Is there more? Are there any questions I have not answered yet? I will do my best. Good luck. See you next time.